So LordKnight Inbirth 2, Sis Celeste, try saying that 3 times fast, just came out the other day. I've been playing in the early access, so if you get the game on PSN, the deluxe version, you could download the game early. So the game was available on Sunday. I started on Monday with one of the 3 new characters in the game, Kaguya. So this is going to be a basic guide, and we're going to be looking at her buttons, and then special moves, some basic combos, and some basic strategies. Movement's pretty important in this game, but she specifically has extra movement options, but it's important to look at each individual button in the game, even though this has a feeling like it's a fast game. So for starters, we're going to look at her 5A. So this is a pretty standard like kick. So this is best to just run up with. It's one of your good run up options. Then you have her 5B. This is actually one of her main pokes, and her 5B has 2 pretty big advantages. So one is that you can actually cancel it on whiff, where other stuff you can't really. So like I'm mashing A, I'm mashing C, and it's also just a big move in general in comparison to like her standing A. You can run up with it, and even if you miss, you can whiff cancel it. So the only time someone will really get you is if they go over you for some reason. You can't whiff cancel it into other stuff though, so you can't do like 5B, 5C, or 5B, 2C or anything like that. The only thing you'll whiff cancel to is the follow-up to 5B. Then you have her 5C. So this is actually, I think this is a pretty good move. The tutorial in the game doesn't really talk about this move. So one, it's somewhat functionable as an anti-air because it hits high and she kind of steps back. So even when you whiff this, because you're moving backwards, you do have to adjust for this when you're doing pressure, if you do use it in pressure, because there can be positions where your 5C could whiff. So a better example would be something like this. Okay, so something like this can happen where your 5C whiffs, but it's kind of hard to do, but I felt like this happened a lot in my matches, so just keep that in mind. And then we have her 4B. So this is kind of your go-to anti-air, and similar to 5C, you do go backwards when you do it. In the same way that I did anti-air 5C, you could also do anti-air 4B. This move is pretty annoying to combo off of, not going to lie. Most of my combo drops are from this, and I do, at the moment, pretty simple combos off this because of that when I do have the opportunity. Also, this move can be baited. In this previous example, I just kind of had her jump in. If they do something like this, where they jump towards you and then they air dash after you do the 4B, then you'll be kind of screwed. So keep that in mind. This is a little bit less likely to happen with 5C depending on your timing, but it can happen with that as well. For your low buttons, you have your 2As. So this is a standard mashable low. Both your 5A and your 2A are both the same speed. They're both 6 frame mash options, so you can use either one for mashing. Then you have 2B. So this can also situationally be used as an anti-air, again because of the angle, and it's 2 hits, so you can cancel the first hit if you want. Despite being a crouching move, it is a mid. 2C is one of your big money pokes, so it's a 2-hitting low, kind of reminiscent of like a Guile sweep. It is really big. It hits from like out here, and similar to Guile sweep, you have 1 hit whiff and another hit connect. It is not whiff cancelable at all though, but if you only hit 1 hit, you can cancel it early, and it's a little weird to do, but you, right before the second hit connects, if you have good timing, you could make another move come out. And when you do so, it does have a gap. So keep that in mind because it does have some uses once you get used to the game. Then you have 3C. So this, despite the animation is a mid, it has 4 follow-ups. It is not special cancelable, but in the case that you do have Vorpal, so you win the grid war, you can cancel it into chain shift. So this is the A follow-up. It's -10 and just kind of gets you like far away from the opponent. It's pretty hard for people to actually like punish this. I'm pretty sure people would have to lab specific ways to deal with this. A really good thing here is that you can just get out of the corner. So let's say someone throws you and you tech the throw. So in this game you have a pretty good frame advantage when you tech throws. So you can use 3C into the follow-up to retreat to mid-screen. Then you have the B follow-up. So the B follow-up is a 2-hitting attack, and there's a small gap there that you can use. So on block, you cannot cancel into anything, again, outside of chain shift. But on hit, you get all sorts of cancel options, special cancel options, and this is one of your main enders for combos. Then you have 3CC. This actually does your special move. It looks like this one, but at least from the way it looks to be, it looks like the B grenade, which we'll look at later, but like done point blank. Honestly, this is pretty gimmicky if you don't have chain shift, so I don't really use this really. And then the last one you have is forward. and back. So you can go through like this, and you can go through like this. This is dependent on which way you tap dash. If you tap dash away from them, then you'll go away. If you tap dash towards them, you'll go back through. Since these are not attacks, you cannot cancel these with chain shift. At the moment, as far as pressure, I don't really know what these do, but if you happen to have like a grenade out, you could use this as an approach. As far as I know, this game has like really strong cross-up protection, so it's actually really hard to do left-right mix-ups in this game. Something like this or this is not really a mix-up, but it's just something to keep your opponent on your toes, and again, you can get control of which side you want in case you want to escape from the corner. At -20, these are very disadvantageous if you do them wrong, but you end up being quite advantageous if you use them in combination with the grenade. And then you have her 6C. So this does a couple of things. So 1, this goes over lows. 2, you use this in combos. As far as the pressure, you can't really cancel into anything besides chain shift, and that's on the ground. But if you manage to hit with it late, you can change the frame data from -5 to at most +1. So then we have jumping buttons. So her jumping buttons are pretty straightforward. Her fastest assault option is actually this. So one thing that's really nice about this game is that it will tell you to start up from motion. So this is your fastest assault option at 23 frames, that's JA. It's pretty much its main use outside of combos. Jump B is used for combos and a cross-up. If you haven't played LordKnight, this game has a lot of moves that hit behind and are multi-hits, so I feel like that's the main reason why the cross-up protection is so strong. So while in other games having a strong cross-up is a unique tool, it's pretty common in this game, and she has a couple of good ones. Jump B being one of them. Jump C is actually another one, so it does hit as a cross-up. It's one of your main jump-ins, it hits pretty deep. And then you have Jump 2C, which is yet another cross-up. So it's quite big too, in a kind of a different way, and hits cross-up. This game uniquely has dashing attacks as well. So if you play like Grand Blue, you might know like 6XL, right, or something. So you have this in this game as well. So she doesn't have one with the A button, but she does have one with the B and C button, and these are both worth talking about. So the dash B, it's pretty good. It's special cancelable on block, and her special cancel options are not so bad. One thing that's really important to keep in mind, and I learned this through trials, is that if you're going to do a dashing move into a 2-3-6, if you don't let go of your lever or go back to neutral, you'll do a DP, and she has a DP motion. So if you want her safest cancel option, which would be her core circle forward, you need to make sure you let go, so you go back to neutral. Even going to back does not work. So my personal way of inputting these things, you can see in my inputs, I did a half circle forward after the dash B, and I still got a dragon punch. So be really careful about that, because you can die. You can whiff DP into chain shift, but like you'd have to be winning the grid war and all this stuff, and we're not gonna talk about that in this video. Really keep that in mind for this button. Outside of this though, it's a pretty useful move. It's a low, which is nice. It's quite fast. It's actually 10 frame startup, so it's actually quite a good move if your opponent is actually on the ground or trying to reposition. But when people start, they're kind of jumpy, but it's good to keep in mind as an approach. It's very good in combination with the grenade. You don't even have to cancel into anything. You just pull up, and you can use it with chain shift, of course. Then you have dash C. So this is a full screen laser. They have this in Dragon Ball, has like a hit scan property, so it's the same startup everywhere, whether you're point blank or full screen. It's always 24 frames, which is really nice, and has quite a bit of block stun as well. On hit, you can follow this up into a combo, and it's definitely your, I'm not gonna say it's your best full screen presence tool, but if someone is respecting other options that you have full screen, it's a great one because you're dashing, so you're building a little bit of the grid. If you hit them, you get a combo, no problem, and you get to B+, so it gives you a safe way to set up a grenade if you don't already have one on screen. So there's actually a couple of other extra things. So there's this thing that, quite frankly, I don't know how you're supposed to do this, or use this, I mean. While you're doing strings, you can hit AB for this special thing. Again, I don't really know what this is for. I'm gonna keep it real. They explained it in the tutorial. The tutorial has a lot of stuff. I haven't absorbed all of it yet, so I don't really know what this is for. I'm just showing you that it is there. You do it by pressing a button and then pressing AB, and I'm just showing you that it exists, okay? I don't know what to say. And the last thing we're going to talk about is the force function. So that's BC. So hers is a sidestep. I was told the invincibility starts on frame 3. And there are 2 ways to actually follow this up. So when you do this, If you press a button, you get an attack follow-up. To my knowledge, this normal follow-up requires you to use chain shift to be able to combo off it. And it doesn't really matter whether or not you get a counter hit or not. When you get the chain shift, you just get a combo. When I try to do this without chain shift, I usually don't get a combo, but maybe I'm wrong and there's a way. To my knowledge, you need to use chain shift in order to combo off it. But the important follow-up, I think in general, is actually the forward plus button follow-up. So this is what you can use as kind of an anti-zoning tool because it's just invincible. So like that. And just like the other follow-up, you can follow up with chain shift. So this is pretty important to use because she does have full screen presence, but some of these things have flaws, as we'll discuss in a little bit. So next, let's look at her special moves. So first is her quarter circle series. So quarter circle A, B, and C. So quarter circle A is kind of like a Rekka series where you do quarter circle forward A, and then you can follow it with forward A twice. So done max speed, they're all airtight, but so you can manually delay to put gaps in there. The first one is pretty safe at -6, and you can do it pretty far. So you do it from here. Again, it seems that the fastest moves in this game are 6 frames, but they're not really hitting from here, so you're pretty good. And the second one advances slightly, and it's -7 right here. And again, this is from pretty far. The third one is the most unsafe one, predictably. It is -15, which is pretty big, but it is under night, so you can cancel this into chain shift. You can also exit each part of the Rekka by using meter. So while this wouldn't really be required on the first or second one, it is pretty critical on the third one. Now, the C version costs 100 meter, and this one just makes you plus. It's 12 frames, which is pretty fast, +9. And it basically hits the same from anywhere. I try to use this as counter zoning. It kind of depends on the projectile. You'd have to experiment in matchups yourself. I've had it work sometimes, I've gotten smoked sometimes, it kind of just depends. And this move has a ton of hit stun all that time. So you can quite literally hit this and do something. Now, while this is used for pressure, this is your main go-to full screen tool. It's not as fast as the C version, it's 17 frames, but as you can see, it could be crouched under. It's a very narrow bullet. Enemies can also jump over this, so you can also just go under it, crouch under it, 3C, all this type of stuff. Now, this move does have a follow-up, and the follow-up is crouching, but you're just vulnerable for a large amount of time, and a lot of characters have either like air movement or air projectiles that they can do, so you have to use this move pretty carefully. Now you can cancel this into chain shift on whiff, kind of similar to, let's say if you play Guilty Gear, you could do like projectile PRC and see what they're doing. Exert would be like fireball YRC, poke YRC, this type of thing, so you can use it like that, but you don't get it that much. Again, you have to win the grid cycle in order to have this option. It is super cancelable on whiff as well, so you do have this option. And some of these are like mobility options as get out of jail free cards, but again, these all cost resource, so just keep that in mind. Then you have one of her most important special moves, in my opinion, and once I started using this move, this character just started making way more sense. It is her quarter circle back series. So this is her quarter circle back A, quarter circle back B, and quarter circle back C. So these are the grenades. So let's talk about these moves for a little bit. So one, they do go away on hit, not on block. So this is a very important tool in that regard. A lot of characters in this game have like full screen normals or normal into teleport or projectiles like crazy angles. So at a glance, it would seem that she doesn't have strong versions of these. So again, like this hits full screen, but it doesn't hit crouching, and this is really good with 24 frames, and this costs meter, but again, it's really good, cost meter, and she doesn't really have like an air gun, you know? So this is like your main go-to, and you're thinking about the angles where she's throwing the grenades. So the A version is she jumps back and throws grenades in the middle of the screen and almost full screen. The B version is she actually flips towards the opponent, and the grenades will go behind her full screen and to the middle of the screen. And the C version kind of shoots them really quickly, and it goes one to the middle of the screen, one to right in front of her. So you might be like, man, like she's not tossing these full screen, like what's the point of this then? An important thing is that she actually gets to keep air options off these moves. So for example, this one, if you press a button, you don't really do anything in the air, but you can cancel it into her quarter circle forward series. So her quarter circle forward A, B, and C are all these air steps, which is an additional air option. So you use these in combos, of course, but off these, you actually get to double jump. So, you know, you can't normally double jump nor super jump in this game, but off this, you do get a double jump. Off this, you can do a grenade. You could do grenade into flip and go right into in between the grenades. So now knowing this, another example is, let's say you're in the middle of the screen, you pop the B grenade and you retreat into it. So now there's space between you and the opponent and the grenades are there. So you could do something like go back in and then run up behind it, go back in, shoot, set up safely. So now all these things that have like situations where people could jump over them or maybe crouch over them, if they let you do this, then these are just kind of permanent. You could dash block into them and make it much harder for the opponent to deal with. The C version is a good just let me retreat and put hitboxes on the screen. I use this on round start. You can also use it in combos as well. You don't usually use it in neutral because if you wanted that type of control, you have this in the first place. So you don't really use it because it doesn't put a grenade specifically full screen. Wow, I didn't realize it, but I talked about this move and this move at the same time. So you do use them together. Little side note, because no one told me this by the way, but the B version of the grenade, you actually can charge this. So her other charge move is actually jump C, which we're about to talk about in a little bit because it's for combos, which we're about to move to, but just a little thing. To be honest, I don't really know what this is for yet, besides you go further in pretty clear fashion. Definitely something you'll probably see people start using as a developer more. The last special move we're going to talk about is DP. She has light, medium, and EXDP. So the EXDP is your invincible option. So this is your actual reversal. The other two don't have invincibility in a traditional sense. So the A version is actually a great anti-air. So specifically, it's like frame 1 invincible. So there are spots where your 4B will lose. So I'm trying to do it. 4B lose, 4B lose, 5B big lose, DP win, right? Super late. It's both chain shift cancelable and super cancelable up here. So you can follow up off that. On the last hit, the knockdown hit, you can follow up, but it's not going to combo. But you also kind of use this as a combo ender, so you can do something like this and keep your pressure. This is something you mainly do in the corner specifically. And as we mentioned, you can cancel special moves into chain shift, so you can both use it like this or you can use it like this and go into some type of combo. So to my knowledge, the B version is straight up just used for combos. This is basically the only thing I was told you can do, and I don't actually know how to follow that up. Just letting you know that's what it's for. I don't really know if it has invul because I use this as the reversal, I use this as the anti-airs. I don't really know what the B version is for. There's probably some optimizations that people will do later in combos that will use it. And I was told that, again, that if I hit, let's say counter hit with this, but you get this on normal hit too, you could do this type of follow-up, but I haven't actually learned what do you do after this. So putting it there just for completion's sake, but keep that in mind. The last couple of things to address would be like super. So she has this is her half circle for D. It costs all your meter. Basically a combo ender. It does have invulnerability. It's like a high risk, high reward type of thing. It's similar to this. This is the ABCD. This is what you use. It's when you're under 30%, you can press ABCD to do this combo ender that does a lot of damage. I believe this is invincible too. Again, high risk, high reward. You can see that it's really slow startup. So these supers are very situational outside of combos. So time for some basic combos. So the nice thing about this game, you can do basically any button order. It's a system called reverse beat. So you can do A, B, C, but then also like B, C, A, and then C, B, A. Like you could do any order like that. Don't get too discouraged and hear people being like, oh, your combos are not optimal and stuff. Your goals right now are really just making sure you finish your combos, and then when you have an opportunity to kill, you do like a big super or something. I'm going to be giving you a couple combos that you could basically use for everything. They're not the highest damage combos. I think this character can definitely be optimized out a lot. She has a lot of inconsistencies based on like positioning and stuff because she has this step thing actually has a hitbox, and people want to combo into the grenade. Usually you're using the B grenade for combos, and you're switching sides a lot while you're doing these things, so you'll also be reading the inputs for what people will be telling you. This actually drove me crazy originally, but once you get used to it, it's not so bad. I'm going to be giving you the combos I'm using right now, and frankly the most important part is the ender. more than anything else. First, we're going to start it off jabs. Your basic 2A or 5A combo looks like this, something. I ended on that 5C because there's a couple of things that you can do. So the combo is 2A, 2A, 2C, and then you jump cancel it into jump C, into J236B. When you do J236B, you're going to do a grenade, but on the other side. So this is what I was talking about. So someone would tell you do J236B, so jump, core circle, and then J214B, but instead the way I'll tell it to you, we're going to assume we're always on player 1 the whole time, even when we swap sides, that you're actually doing J236B, J236B. This makes it way easier for me, I'm not going to lie, okay? If you feel like you hit them close enough, you can actually do JCB into land, into jump charge C, but if you don't know if you're close enough, or if you think the opponent is kind of high randomly for some reason, you do JAB into this. Then from here, you pick one of two enders. You either do the 5Cs into this. Okay, so you do 5C, 3C, 5B, one hit into the light grenade. And that is for knockdowns. The light grenade, remember, is cancelable into step. You can run up, you can do all sorts of stuff. And if you want to cash out with meter, that would mean you do this. Of course, you could probably push a little bit more, but just for now, this is fine until you get used to it. Your other option would be to do this, to keep them mid-screen. You actually do dash B instead. So if you choose to do dash B, you could do a combo ender using the quarter circles from before, the gunshots. Remember the thing I said about making sure you go back to neutral when you do this though? And for Oki, again, you're going to be doing grenade. But you're going to be doing the B version of the grenade and not the A, so that you go over them. If you either poke them with 5B, with punish them with 5B, or to do something super punishable, this will be your combo. Control. So this one ends up being a little bit more straightforward, and I usually just do one ender off this. So you're going to be doing 5B or 5BB, depending on how you're feeling. 2C into 6C, and because it's on hit, we can cancel it into air 236B, which remember it has a hitbox. So then you do JBB. I didn't actually mention this as far as neutral, because this only really comes up in combos, but you can follow up JB with another JB that goes back through them. This actually has a decent amount of hit stun. So here you're going to do jump BC to C after you land. This is pretty important too. It looks like a lot of characters do this type of like button thing, jump into like 3 buttons, land again button. So we're going to be doing this as well. And then once you do that, you're actually going to land into another 5B. This is different than our other ender, right? So our one ender was just dash B. And then another ender was 5C, 3C, B follow up into grenade or whatever. But this one is probably like the longest ender. What you're doing here is you're adding a 5B, 6C before the original ender we were doing before, which was 5C, 3C into the B follow up. So the whole combo will look like this now that you know all the inputs. What your I don't know what's going on combo would basically be using what we just learned. So jump canceling as soon as possible, B, C to C into whatever ender you want. So I did the 5C ender, the dash B ender, all these enders work fine. Again, this is the I literally don't know what hit I got. I don't know what to do. This would be my go-to. In the corner, you can combo 2C into B grenade. So basically all my hits, I do the same combo at the moment. So you go into B grenade here. And you do jump B. And the grenades will both hit because they hit differently in the corner. Then I'll do charge jump C After the grenades go off, you land and do a charge JC, which will knock them down. And from there, you can do the 5C ender. Now, keep in mind that you want to make sure that you wait for the grenades to go off, or else this will happen. So we don't want that to happen. We want them to be knocked down there, so make sure you wait for the grenades to go off. There's no burst to worry about, so you can sit there, chill, you have plenty of time to make this connect. And last but not least, throw combo. So she actually can combo for a throw. It's not that common in this game. And the throw combo only has a slight difference compared to what you would do in the corner. So throw into 5C, jump C, step, double jump, charge C, and then the 5C, B, the 5C, 3C, B follow up, ender. Throw's a pretty scaled starter. There's a little bit more you can do, but I messed it up a lot, to be honest. So right now, again, I'm just keeping it simple. So last but not least, let's talk about some basic strategies with this character. So your main goal is honestly to kind of be annoying. Again, a lot of characters can attack from full screen in this game. And while she has like decent buttons, so again, like her 5B is pretty good, and her 2C is actually a great poke as long as it doesn't whiff. And she has a pretty easy anti-air and like 4B, so you can be walking away and use it. DP anti-air, big buttons. Your main go-tos to protect yourself would be J2C, JB, 2C, your main poke. But grenades are really important because they don't go away on block. So your goal ideally would be to get somewhere here somehow using the grenade plus movement to bait people to come at your grenade. Because if they block your grenade, you're heavily advantageous and you can go for strike throw mix-ups. You can sneak in overheads like this with the grenade. So it's by far the most important thing. If no one is falling for your A grenade into step, then I would actually run at them and do the B grenade and then go back. So when you do the B grenade, they're going to try to chase you maybe, and you could bait them into going back into you, which is pretty nice. You have a couple of tools for anti-zoning, like I mentioned. You have your force function. This does require you to know the enemy character to a good amount, so after some practice you'll be able to use this. And an immediate one would be this though, and again you have pretty high return on that. If someone is just watching you do this a lot and they don't know what to do, then start using this. This is very good. You get a combo off it, and again it's the same structure we talked about before. And your plus on blocks you can just kind of pull up. If you need to approach anyway, you have this straight up running at them, and again using this into step or using this into step. One thing I want to try to add actually is using the EX version because she goes a little bit further. But your main goal is to get people to block your grenades. Get people to run in your range and block your grenades. If they're camping too much, then you need to dash block at them and you shield or counter with force function or this in order to hit them full screen. Out of these, I definitely find this to be the weakest, but it definitely gets the job done, so don't be too scared to use it. If I had to say if this character had any flaws, I don't know how her damage looks overall. Again, I haven't been learning like the super big combos yet. I've just been doing stuff to make sure I can learn how to play the game and keep my offense going. Specifically, when characters can float really high on the other side of the screen, is really tough for her to deal with because the grenades, the traveling has no hitbox, it's only the explosions that do, and you'll notice that in many cases, the grenades don't pop in the air. They tend to pop on the ground. So that tends to be pretty annoying. If they're really hyper camping you, I would say use concentration to force them to come at you, or keep doing grenade in this step, or do grenade and to run into it until they actually engage you or block the grenade. Now, if they block a grenade in the air, so you can't actually block attacks in the air, but you can block projectiles in the air, like this. So in the case that they do block a grenade in the air, you just get a free air unblockable, so keep that in mind, and you can go into a combo like that. Pressure is pretty simple, so this game's not like Build, you don't have to super freestyle your pressure really. Just starting by delaying strings is very good, and you can get a lot of space here with Rebeat to go into a safe position or cancel into grenade and run back up. She has a flaw in that she has multi-hitting moves, so like 2Bs, 2 hits, 2Cs, 2 hits. So people will be trying to shield you a lot. You definitely don't want them to shield you for free. So in this case, we're going to be using staggered A's. We'll be using assault into button, A into throw, and canceling early. So like 2C into 6C, 2C into grenade, 2B2 siege grenade, using 1 hits, just doing stuff so that they drain their shield. Just doing stuff so they don't lazily just hold shield through all your stuff and get a big advantage on you. But yeah, that's the basic Kaguya guide. I'm learning the game too. She's been pretty fun to play so far. Outside of appearance, you know, I like this character aesthetic, you know. The main reason I'm playing her, if I wasn't playing her, I'd play Tsurugi, I think. I think it's important to play a new character because this is a legacy game, so even like beginners from the perspective of people who played Uni for a long time, or novices, I would say, they'll have legacy knowledge on you that you have to deal with, so why not fight them with some stuff they don't have to deal with, right? But all things aside, she's been pretty fun to play. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to put them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.